Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And yeah, it's a Masterlock. You guys have seen me pick these before, right? Yeah, you have. Well, this is a Masterlock Pro Series 6830. I've actually had one of these before, but mine actually had a 5-pin core, and this one's a 4-pin. Got this one from Steel Pennies. I want to see if I can't upgrade this after picking it here and make it a little bit better. All right, so let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and use the old fat tension wrench, 20,000 short hook. Click from one. And puppy dog still has separation anxiety. And there we go, it's open. And that was a pretty weak pick. But let's see what we can do to increase the picktivity of this lock. And wouldn't you believe it, I had forgotten that Masterlock uses Allen screws. There we go. Well, actually, yeah, that flathead screwdriver will fit in there, though. But it won't turn her. Joy of joys, guys. Give me a minute while I go to where my 3D printer is hanging out now and grab my Allen key set. BRB. Okay, and I'm back. Regardless of just grabbing one, I grabbed the whole set because I could never remember the exact size that Masterlock likes to stick in here. I think it's a funky size, like 7/64 or something, maybe. So let's try that one. Hey, what do you know? Lefty loosey. There we go. All right, so let's loosen that one up. So let's get these out of the way. Pull out a pitting tray. Get some of this junk out of the way. And we'll finish screwing her right up. Okay, there's the bits. And that one actually has, guys, Masterlock, seriously, what the fuck are you doing? Pardon my French, guys, and if you had kids, I forgot to have a warning there, but in post, I'll stick it in there. 4-pin lock, 6-pin core. Masterlock has really made no sense whatsoever here. This is one of those crimped cores, so I should be able to, with the key, and it turning around to the crimp, and yeah, I'll be able to push it out from there. All right, let's see if my half moon follower will help us out with this situation. And it will not, because it's just a little bit too large. What else do I got that I can use? Actually, you know what? I'll just turn her right back up and dig around for my American lock follower, which is normally right here with the rest of them. Oh, there it is. See if that will go in there, and it won't. We'll see if my ink pen will go in there. It won't. And if the dog would stop chewing on the rug that I've got out here in the garage, that'd be nice. Hey, go chew on something else. What do I got that I can use? I know. I've got a smaller ink pen. Ruby, seriously, girl? Come on. Okay, so, well, there's our 4 pins, guys, and a clearly made 6-pin lock. Since that was 4 pins, I was expecting to see that they had really changed these up and put one of these other cores in here, like that piece of shit Masterlock core. But no, they put a good core in there and just didn't pin it up all the way. That's a little bit lazy. And let me see if I even got a key that'll go to 6 pins on this. So, BRB. Alrighty, I'm back. I didn't have a 6-pin variety key, but I've got a 5-pin variety key. And this video is going to be a little bit more of a video than I was expecting when I first started it. So let's go ahead and get some of this junk out of my way. We know these are all standard, so guess what, guys? We're just going to fling the pins and the springs. Same way with this, because we're not going to reuse those pins. We're going to make a whole new key, a whole new bitting, and turn this into a proper lock. So let's get rid of all these standard pins. We don't want them. We don't like them. We're going to go ahead and keep the springs because, heck, they're springs and the puppy dog's chewing on the carpet again. I had to take a string of carpet out of her mouth. Now let's throw in a couple of different type springs here. What that I got. There we go. Let's do it like that, shall we? Okay, as far as pinnings go, let's make our own pin out for this one. Pin 1. Let's go with a 7. Pin 2. There we go. Or actually, I guess that was a 6 and then a 2. Because a 0 and a 1, those are the, I think those are 0 and 1. Those might be 1 and 2. I can't remember exactly. Anywho, so there's a good difference between the first and second pin. Let's go ahead and put another short one in the third pin just for doodly sake. Let's go ahead and put another, let's put a longer one here. That's max depth pin right there. Sure, we'll go ahead and put another one of these right behind it. And last but not least, well, we don't know what that's going to be yet, so we got to hold off. But first off, let's go ahead and slide this off to the side, slide this out of the way, bring in the vise because we got a smidge of filing to do. Now, this key isn't as long as a 5-pin American lock key, so you can't really fit a nice short key on the tip here. It'll wind up being a long pin and one that you barely have to lift to be able to pick it. So, that being said, let's turn this to where I can see it. Sorry about you guys. I'll zoom in for you. And I'll grab a flat file. And I'm just going to file this back a little bit just so that tip will give us a little bit more fun. Round that off. There we go. All right. So I'll probably file that enough that I can get a little bit bigger pin on the tip. So let's see what size we can put there. All right, so let's try this size. Nope. All right, so that leaves me to where I could put another one of these little short ones in there. And that'll leave us with a pretty darn well bitted lock. not quite enough. So let me file this down just a hair more. And I mean just a hair more, like, there we go. That's probably enough right there. Yep, that brings that right to the shear line. So if you guys have a 5-pin key and you don't want to put a super long pin on the 6th pin, yeah, just file this little tip down just a little bit, and it'll let you drive that in there just a hair further. So there you go. There's pour tip number 1 for this video. Definitely not pro. It's a pour tip because I'm not a pro, but I am poor. Not really. Anywho, now we got to mark for our pins, and let me just adjust this camera down so I can stay in frame a little bit better. Okay, so I use a sharp pointy thing that I filed down. Go in there, I just make a scratch on each one. And I can turn it around, you can see all of those scratches right where they need to be. Let me zoom in for you. There you go. So I can get rid of that. I can get my cheap-tastic little key cutter out, which will save me some filing time. Let me grab it off the pegboard here. The little leashy key cutter. Works fine, folks. It's not the bee's knees, but it gets the job done. Alright, so we can just go ahead and line this up with our first one. I can kind of eyeball it. I know it's going to be a deep cut. Squeeze it just a little bit and make a mark. I was off of it just a hair. Let's see if that's going to work. That is going to work beautifully. Give it the deepest cut that I could. And it did kind of hoop-a-joop the key just a little bit. Probably should have cut it on this side. But we'll be fine. We'll just file that out of the way. Or just take a pair of pliers and just bend it right back where it belongs. And I got a Gerber right over here somewhere. There we go. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and file some burrs off here. Stick this in. And we'll just see where my key pin sits for us. It's probably not deep enough cut, but I knew it was going to get us close. So not perfect, but close. And that's all I'm asking for with this tool, is a not perfect, but close. Because every one of these, I'll go back and I'll just touch them up by hand. And then we'll have a good working key for our lock. I'll go ahead and get those rest of those cut. You didn't need to see the process on the rest of them. You saw it on the first one. So I'll be right back. Okay. So some time later has passed. I'm knocking my camera everywhere, getting some dust everywhere. All right. So we got this one all sorts of taken care of now. I got my key cut. All my keys or key pins are flush. Made a couple little mistakes here, but nothing I couldn't fix. Mainly because I was using my laser eyeballs to measure these. Show you that key again. I cut pin, 4 just a little bit too deep, so I had to make my own pin that was even deeper than normal. So actually, pin 4 has a very nice little zero lift pin in it now, so should be nice and fun. Pin 1's got a little bit of lift to it, but pin 4 being a zero lift way back there might help us out on the security of this lock. So there we go. Well, also I had to change the pin on 3. I cut that a little too deep too, but oh well. That's what you get for using your laser eyeballs. Anywho, let's go ahead and put this thing together and see if it works at all. I haven't tested to see if it does, so let's go ahead and put it together, and I'll show you what pins I decided to go ahead and put in it too. So Pin 1, just your serrated. Pin 2 is an American serrated spool. Pin 3 is a Masterlock spool. Pin 4, since that's a zero lift, I'm just putting a standard pin in. I got a serrated spool in 5 and a Masterlock spool in 6. So be a heck of a lot better of a lock. And you know, as I was working around, I could have saved myself a ton of time because, well, because of that. I've already got a Masterlock core pinned up for 6 pins. Oh well. At least gave me an excuse to have a video for you guys. Alright, so like I said, we're going to put this back together. Okay, that's our crimped side, so that's our back. So a lot of times on Master Locks and American Locks, I like to go ahead and load up all the springs first. Totally personal preference, but the reason why I do on these is most of the time the springs aren't proud of the holes anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. All right, so I've got to use my ink pen follower now. And this is not easy to use an ink pen follower by any means, because it is actually a little bit too small. But if you go nice and slow, keep track of what you're doing, you'll do fine. Actually, I've got a screwdriver around here that has the perfect size for these, and I've used in the past, but it's been a very long time since I've used it, so I've got no clue where the heck I'm going to find it. Okay, so we got that. I've already got all the key pins loaded up, and I mean, they appear flush enough. They don't have to be absolutely perfect. And if they are just ever so proud, instead of filing the whole top flat here like a lot of people do to get them to be nice and flush, take a long strip of sandpaper and just wrap it over it and just turn it a few times. Just like that. That won't mess with the tolerances near as much as filing it flat. I guess that's another little pour tip for you guys instead of a pro tip. Okay. Definitely having to use the shim since I'm not using a right size follower. Okay. Okay, and it's in there. It's upside down, but that's not a biggie. I do got to push this pin up a smidge. Let me grab my pointy tool. See if I can get that in there. Right here's where you kind of need to have 3 hands. Or be smart enough to not turn it 180. Come on. Good days. Anywho, give me a second to get that straightened up and BRB. Okay, got everything back together. couldn't use this guy. Didn't have a 7/32 attachment in them. Had to go back to my Allen key. But anyway, I got the core back together. I had a key pin that was just a hair too long. It was hanging us up. So I just filed it down a smidge. All right, there's our key. It's in there. We got a 6-pin lock. And it works. Very, very nice. Now we have a Masterlock 6830 worthy of being called Pro Series. It's got proper security pins in it. It's a 6-pin core, fully pinned up with a very challenging bitting. So guys, there we go. All Masterlocks aren't worthless. You just got to know what to do to get them up to par. So Steel Pennies, thanks for the lock. I really appreciate it. It was fun to wind up making more of a video than I was aiming to when I started this. And everyone else, please stay safe. Don't do anything illegal. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, if you see a lock out there in the wild and you don't have one of these for it, don't stick one of these in it. All right. Peace.